What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Matthew and Kharlene channel. Today we are covering a very hot topic right now here in the West. Of why is it there are so many men who are just not attending college universities here in the West right now? Now, I know a lot of people, particularly the ones who participate in the feminist movement, are wanting to say that the reason why so many men are not attending college here in the West is because men mature slower than women, and they should probably be held back a year than the women are. Well, I hate to break this to everybody, but that whole men mature slower than women thing was really true, and that's the reason why so many men are not attending college right now here in the West. Well, this would be a universal thing. It wouldn't be just something that's isolated to the Western world. There are plenty of countries like the Philippines, Colombia, Thailand, South Korea, who all have cohabitational colleges, and they're not experiencing this issue at all. They really are not. Also, let's take a moment and understand this. If that were to be said, if men were to say the exact same thing to women in the West and say women should be held back a year than men are, they would be screaming oppression, patriarchy, sexist. But apparently, if it's done to men, it's a-okay for some reason. Also, is that whole concept that men mature slower than women, and that's the reason why fewer and fewer men are attending colleges right now? The current overall Western world debt rate wouldn't be what it is today. It honestly wouldn't be. Neither would the current overall Western antidepressant prescription rates. That wouldn't be what it is today either. Yeah, so let's debunk that theory altogether. Now, I wanted to tell you from what I've seen from personal experience of the reason why I think so many men are just not going to colleges anymore. And it's because in our education system right now, mostly as a direct result of the feminist movement, a lot of things in education have become very, very anti-male. They have been. Now, I'll give you a couple examples. Imagine yourself in this situation. Just imagine it. You're going to class. You start dating the girl. You get your very first kiss from her. Did you get a little bit rambunctious with it because it was your first kiss? Yeah, of course. That's be understandable. However, because you are born a boy, instead of the woman who gave you your first kiss understanding that, like, hey, a kiss is supposed to be a first kiss is supposed to be a very special moment. Everybody only gets once in their lifetime. She instead does the exact same thing everybody, the teachers and their fellow women, were telling men not to do. Use it as a weapon to villainize you and as an excuse to just break up with you. Yeah. If a man were to do the exact same thing, if a man Nelson were to do the exact same thing, he would be called sexist, he would be accused of using women for their bodies, the whole shebang. But for some reason, if a woman does it to a man, people support it. Yeah. Which just infuriates a lot of men. Imagine yourself in this situation. You had a discussion with a female classmate about being more than friends. Just a discussion about it. She led you on for a few months before she telling you that she doesn't want to do that. You got justifiably angry because, hey, you wasted several months of your study time in this and made a report. A complaint about it to the staff. She got in trouble. But instead of just apologizing, taking full responsibility for actions, and saying, I'm sorry for leading on so well, that was definitely my bad, she instead becomes very overly vindictive towards you because you had the gall to be a man and hold her accountable for it.
She basically makes it her mission to convince everyone she can get a hold of to turn on you. She does. That's what it does. That's her priority, to her main mission. Eventually, it escalated to a point where, hey, you're called into a staff office, and they're trying to talk to you about how you made this girl feel uncomfortable, and you tell them, hey, listen, all you have to do to figure out that this woman is lying is just look at our class schedules. Because according to our class schedules, it's physically impossible for me to have done any of this stuff. She doesn't let it go then. She doesn't. She still continues trying to get everybody to turn on you. And since her fellow women are not willing to say no to her, they're not, because of the whole believe all women thing, guess what? You're in a situation where you're gearing up to get ready for college, where every one of her female friends, well, their parents are trying to set you up with them because since they decided to prioritize villainizing you over their education, their parents want to get them to get out. Their parents are scared of what it's going to be like further down the road, where they're not going to be able to get their daughters out of the house. Yeah, that's the situation. They see that you, the man, have a thing going on. Like you have a future, but their daughters, since they prioritize trying to make you out to be a villain for holding this one woman accountable, their parents want to prioritize getting their daughter out of the house, even if it means trying to set their daughters up with you. Yeah. Imagine yourself in this situation. You dated a girl for a while. You did. For a while, it was going good. It was. But up until, hey, your biological need came into the relationship. Sex. You basically wanted to be intimate. That basically caused you to have a whole entire flip out about it. It did. You decided, okay, you know what? I decided I'm going to want to break up with her. Every single staff at your school is in full support of it and are actively encouraging you to do it. Even a female teacher who used to have it out for you is also encouraging you to do it, to the point where she's telling you that she would be willing to set you up with her own daughter. She would. And she's saying that because she told you straight out of Matthew, I know we had our differences before, but I've seen you go above and beyond for this girl, and she has not offered you zero to little in return. And that's unacceptable. So you do end up breaking up with her. And instead of just respecting and honoring your wishes, she does the exact same thing every woman in the school and all teachers have been telling the men not to do. She becomes a full-fledged stalker, where she starts, just like the other girl, she becomes vindictive. She starts stalking you, following you around, trying to figure out ways that she can make you out to be a villain. One time, it got to the extent where, hey, you're just in your dormitory, you're on your computer enjoying some sunlight while you're at it. She sees you there, she makes a stalker complaint towards you. You don't even notice that she's there. You're literally just on your computer enjoying some sunlight. You get called in. And you basically have to tell everybody, guys, my dorm is on the 3rd floor. It's literally on the 3rd floor. The only way how that woman would even notice I'm there, how my ex would notice I'm there, is if she was actively searching for me. So, by legal definition, she's the one stalking me, not the other way around. Yeah. Imagine yourself in this situation. You're finally in college. Yeah, you are. 4-time period. Things are pretty good. Things are. You have an internship with your chemistry department, with your college's chemistry field, lab, or whatever. You got an internship because you thought it was a good way to make some additional money because it's paid internship. They paired you up with a female student who also has an internship with them. She apparently says she doesn't like it, and she makes an allegation towards you, and you're declared guilty till proven innocent, and you lost the internship. Meanwhile, at the exact same time, you apply for an internship at your college library. They loved it. Like, you're not interacting with the women at all. You're just doing every thing you can to find all of their missing books, even books that are out of print. They decided, Matthew, your internship time is over, but we want to give you a part-time job here instead. That basically just infuriates that woman because it completely debunks everything she said about you. It literally just debunks it. And she tries to get every single woman on campus to label you as undateable for some reason. Yeah, it's got that bad. Imagine yourself in this situation. Hey, you started dating a woman outside your college. You did. And for a while, it was going pretty good. Yeah, I mean, you probably did a lot. You did. Yeah, it was also going good for a pretty good year. It did. But then, for some reason, you go on summer break and you make the mistake of not calling her every day, even though she could technically call you anytime she wants. Hey, you try telling her, I was busy taking summer courses. I had my hands full. Which was a legitimate excuse, but she wasn't having it. Then, we finally made up the year after. You're technically still dating despite that argument. But she decides she wants to break up with you. But get this. Her breakup method was to convince you to treat her to a very big steak dinner, treat her to the aquarium, sex afterwards, yep, and then break up with you and trade you up for another guy the very next day. You know, like, wait, isn't this literally the exact same thing so many women have been telling us men not to do to women for multiple times? And for some reason, she's like, yeah, but I'm a woman, so it's okay. You're like, okay, this is really creepy. Okay, now imagine yourself in this situation. You just got into college. It's your first year there. You're in a cohabitational dorm. For some reason, one of the women there just don't like you. She just does not like you at all. She literally decides to make a bunch of frivolous complaints towards you. She convinces the entire dorm to declare you guilty till proven innocent. Eventually, it escalated to the point where your college had to send a representative and send the representative to your dorm, arrange a dorm meeting, and tell them, if you have enough time to try to get someone kicked out of this college, you should be getting straight A's in every single one of your courses. We're not wasting any more college resources pretending otherwise in order to get the matter resolved. Because quite frankly, your college is just fed up spending so many resources on frivolous complaints that they can't do anything about it. They really are. Imagine yourself in this situation. You had a friend before college. Before college, you were pretty much one of those people who were so tied to the hip to one another, you could be mistaken for next of kin. You were one of those kind of couples. You took a break from it for college purposes, You tried getting back together again after college was over. But apparently, you couldn't make adult dating work to save your life. You really couldn't. Because apparently, what was going on is that since she was a woman, she had so many things just naturally handed over to her, like affirmative action, stuff like that. Guess what? She never learned the value of hard work. Where you, on the other hand, since you are a boy, you got to work hard for everything you got. You did learn the value of hard work. Even though you're not financially well as you would like to be after college, you have your entire life put together. Where the woman, on her hand, like I said, since she had pretty much everything handed over to her, like affirmative action, stuff like that, she never learned the value of hard work, and she still, even after college, is struggling just to figure life out to the point where she's willing to do just about anything in order to keep the relationship with you, except the most important one, which is be submissive. Have full have full understanding that, hey, since the guy got his life together at a young age and you did not, you, madam, are in no position to be trying to lead the family you are trying to create with this guy. Which, thankfully, I never got to that because we never got married. Kharlene's my first wife. This woman I was just engaged to. I broke it up for more reasons than that, but that was one of the bigger reasons. Now imagine yourself in this situation. You're applying to colleges, but you're noticing that the tuition is skyrocketing to levels that are just insane because apparently the majority of the student body, which is the women, they're all majoring in degrees and majors that have zero to no market value on the current job market, including AI. Yeah. Well, at the exact same time, you're noticing that, like, hey, there are plenty of trade schools like IT, for example, entry-level IT security, that's what I'm going into, that offers like six-figure salaries and stuff like that. And the course literally is about like, I don't know, $100 or $200, depending on which course you get. And the certification itself is like $300. And you will literally, if you pass the certification, you literally can get a job where you can make six figures, or probably more than that, but close to six figures. And it's like, okay, this is a better deal. This really is. Yeah. These are just a few of the circumstances that, from what I've seen, is causing so many Western men to vacate colleges and go into certain trade schools like IT or going to Connecticut, where you can make a lot of money building submarines. You could. Yeah, it has nothing to do with women maturing faster than men, and it really has not. Also, going back to the whole women mature faster than men thing, I want to point out something here. Women mature faster than men on a physical level. Physical. The reason why is because women's biology is a lot more complicated than a male's biology is. There's plenty of more room for error. There really is. Yes. Men, that's literally where the saying comes from on how men age like fine wine, women age like sour milk. It's not sexist, it's just pointing out the biological differences between men and women. Mental growth, on the other hand, in maturity and responsibility, is learned. It's learned through self-reflection, aka looking back on what mistakes you made, saying and actually asking yourself the question, where did I mess up here? How can I do better next time? That's how mental maturity growth takes place. However, if you take a look at all these Karen incidents that are being reported on the news so much, you're going to be noticing that the common denominator for those incidences is that here in the West, women have been using, not all, but a majority of them, have been using men as a scapegoat for everything that goes wrong in their life, to the point where they stop self-reflecting at a young age, which causes them to, their mental growth and maturity to come to a halt at the exact moment when they start using men as a scapegoat for everything in their life. Which, by the way, will explain the current maturity rate amongst Western women here in the West. It would. I'm not saying I have anything against Western women. I don't. I'm just saying that the biggest reason why I became a passport bro is because of the maturity rates amongst Western women right now. Because after all, you could be the most beautiful woman on the entire planet. You can be. However, if you've been pointing fingers at men to the point where you don't have the necessary amount of maturity or mental growth and maturity and responsibility to fully commit to a marriage, there's nothing I can do about that. There really isn't. And quite frankly, it's a waste of time and valuable resources to pretend otherwise. It really is.